In early 2024, videos of stray cats being streamed eating began to gain popularity on TikTok. This is Hello Street Cat, a website allowing users to donate money to give food to these stray cats in China. However, there is an entire community dedicated to naming and documenting these stray cats. So I decided to make an iceberg image with most of the cats on there with some help from the Wiki Discord server. This is the street cat iceberg. However, before we begin, I want to give a disclaimer. There are some upsetting topics in this video, and although most of the video is look at the funny cat, there are some upsetting topics in here with some of the cats. Well, with all that out of the way, let's begin the iceberg. Level 1, clear skies. Mr. Fresh. Mr. Fresh is a orange short-haired cat that gained his name because he would only eat his food fresh. This is because once he ate food contaminated with bird poop, and Mr. Fresh would gain popularity due to his way of telling people that he wanted food. Mr. Fresh would judgmentally side-eye the camera and sometimes even punch it as a way to tell people that he was hungry and wanted food. However, a group in China put a bounty on Mr. Fresh, paying over 500 USD for whoever could kill him and show it on camera. Luckily, in late February, Mr. Fresh was captured and was adopted and seems to be doing a lot better now. Mr. Shock. Mr. Shock, often confused with Mr. Fresh, gained their name after being shocked by food coming out of the feeder. Mr. Shock is pretty elusive, only showing up once or twice. However, his most recent appearance was in January 2024, still looking as baffled as usual. Brother Calm. Brother Calm is a white cat known for practicing the art of meditation. Brother Calm is extremely rare, only being seen in late February. However, there was an incident in March where people thought that they found Brother Calm, but some think it's a clone. Miss Burnt. Miss Burnt is a tortoiseshell cat that gained her name because of her distinct orange markings on her body. Miss Peeker. Miss Peeker is a fairly common orange cat that peeks out of her napping spot. Mr. Bean. No relation to the British comedian also named Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is a orange and white cat that gained his name because of his bean-shaped markings on his back. Miss Eeper. Miss Eeper is a calico cat often seen sleeping at her feeder. She is extremely common because of her habit of sleeping in front of the cameras. Mr. Sleepy. Mr. Sleepy gained his name due to looking very tired and his excessive yawning. He is also often seen with his brother, Mr. Puke. Mr. Cow. Mr. Cow is a black and white cat that has markings incredibly similar to a cow. Miss Kirby. Mrs. Kirby is a calico that gained her name because of the Kirby-shaped markings on her back. She is extremely territorial, fighting most cats at the feeder, even fighting Mr. Fresh at a time. Mr. Silk. Mr. Silk is a British shorthair that gained his name because of his white coat resembling silk. Mr. Butter. Mr. Butter is a ginger shorthair that was originally confused for Mr. Fresh. However, Mr. Butter is quite confrontational, starting fights at the feeder pretty often. Miss Dip. Miss Dip is a white shorthair that has her name because her back looks like it was dipped in chocolate. Mr. Happy. Mr. Happy is a orange tabby that, unlike most cats at the feeders, has a caretaker. He's named Mr. Happy because at the top of his feeder there is a sticker that reads Happy. Mrs. Glare. Miss Glare is a orange and black tortoiseshell cat that has a tendency to glare at the camera while eating. Mr. Snoob. Mr. Snoob is a orange cat that is often confused with another cat named Goobert. However, on his first appearance he moved all the kibble out of the way, so he earned the name Sir Snoob. John. John is a black and white short hair that is often compared with Vito from The Godfather. Also, there was an incident where John took a form of a brown bull when startled. Mr. Beef. Mr. Beef is a orange and white short hair that is known for starting fights with a bunch of cats. However, Mr. Beef's most influential action was clearing all of Mount Kibble after a 2-day-long stand with the mountain. Because of Mr. Beef's bravery, he was given the title Sir Beef, Conqueror of Mount Kibble. Mr. Croissant. Mr. Croissant is a orange and white cat that has his name because of the croissant-shaped markings on his back. Mr. Scam. Mr. Scam is a white and gray British shorthair that is known for scamming the audience by begging them even though he is already full. Miss Exclamation Mark. Miss Exclamation Mark is a calico cat that has her name because the orange markings on her back resemble an exclamation mark. She's pretty friendly and is often seen around other cats. Mr. Bald. Mr. Bald is a orange and white shorthair that gained popularity due to the top of his head looking like he was balding. He's pretty friendly and has also been heard purring at the feeders. Mr. Oreo. Mr. Oreo is a gray and white tabby that gained his name due to his resemblance of an Oreo cookie. Mrs. Chlorine. Miss Chlorine is a black and orange tortoiseshell that is often seen taking care of her kittens. Baron, Carbon, and Gold. Baron, Carbon, and Gold are the kittens of Miss Chlorine, and most of the time they are sleeping, but sometimes they do fight. Miss Milk. Miss Milk is a all-white cat that has one distinct feature, that being that she has heterochromia. So her right eye is blue and her left eye is green. Miss Chess. Miss Chess is a orange-brown short-hair that has a pattern on her face that resembles a chessboard. She is also the only cat that has a good relationship with Mr. Beef. Mr. Ribbon. Mr. Ribbon is a brown tabby that, because of his unique black ribbon-like markings on his back, gained his name. Mr. Lung. Mr. Lung is a orange and white short-hair that gained his name because his back looks like a pair of human lungs. Miss Dress. Miss Dress is a orange and white short hair that wears a dress because she kept itching her back after being sterilized. She's also been labeled the security guard of her feeder because she's almost always there. Mr. Wishbone. Mr. Wishbone is a orange and white short hair that gained his name due to his distinct wishbone-like markings on his face. Miss Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man is a orange and brown calico that gained her name due to a distinctive shaped Pac-Man-like marking on her. Mrs. Tender. Miss Tender is a orange shorthair that has earned her name for two reasons. One, the color of her fur resembling the color of a chicken tender. Secondly, the tenderness that she shows her kittens. The Nuggets. The Nuggets are the kittens of Miss Tender. They are most often identifiable by the colors of their collars. One wears red, one wears orange, one's wearing yellow, one's wearing green, and another one is wearing blue. Miss Inception. Miss Inception is a calico cat that gained her name due to a mark on her back resembling a cat's head. Mr. Bleach. Mr. Bleach is a orange short hair that gained his name due to having white spots on his body that look like they have been bleached. Miss Gaia. Mrs. Gaia is a brown tabby named after one of the Greek Titanides, Gaia, mother of all life. She can often be seen at the feeders taking care of her kittens, the Titans. The Titans. The Titans are a group of kittens that are the children of Miss Gaia. However, sadly, one of the Titans passed away, but Miss Gaia adopted a kitten after the passing, so there are still 6. Miss Texas. Miss Texas is a orange and brown shorthair that gained her name due to Texas-shaped markings on her back. She is extremely common, showing up multiple times a day. And that was it for Layer 1, showing off some of the most common or famous cats at the feeders. Now we'll be heading into the shallow waters. Goobert. Goobert is a orange tick tabby who has no markings, making him resemble a corn dog. He's pretty goofy and silly and is pretty well liked in the community. Miss Warn. Miss Warn is a tortoiseshell cat that gained her name due to growling at another cat. She is most often at the feeder eating tuna. Miss Honk. Miss Honk is a gray shorthair that during her first appearance, cars could be heard honking behind her while she was eating. Mr. Airplane. Mr. Airplane is a ginger tabby that earned the name due to an airplane-shaped marking on his face. Mr. Anxiety. Mr. Anxiety is a orange tabby that is always extremely nervous, often seen looking back at the camera in a paranoid fashion. Boo. Boo is a black and white shorthair that has their name due to looking like a typical Halloween black cat. Mr. Doom. Mr. Doom is a orange and white tabby that earned his name due to, quote, ate like the world was about to end. Mr. Beetle. Mr. Beetle is a brown tabby that was named after the unique beetle-like stripes on his back. Mr. Crumb. Mr. Crumb is a orange tabby who had a single snack crumb on the top of his head during his first sighting. Mr. Rev. Mr. Rev is a orange and white cat that gained his name due to growling at another cat, which viewers said sounded like a car engine revving. Miss Silly. Miss Silly is a black, orange, and white calico that when eating has her eyes facing different directions. Mr. Blotch. Mr. Blotch is a white and black shorthair that is named after the unique black blotches on his body. Mr. Star. Mr. Star is a orange and white shorthair named after the white patch of fur resembling a star on his back. Mr. Island. Mr. Island is a white and orange shorthair that looks like a map with a bunch of little islands. He's pretty defensive, once chasing out a cat, and afterwards he would just sit there guarding the food, not even eating. Miss Kibble. Miss Kibble is a brown and orange mackerel tabby that is named due to her love of kibble. She's most well known for taking down more than 50% of Mount Kibble at its peak. Mr. Chonk. Mr. Chonk is a white and orange shorthair and is named due to his size, taking up most of the screen when he's on camera. Mr. Pumpkin. Mr. Pumpkin is a orange mackerel tabby that is named after the unique pumpkin-shaped spot on his face. Mr. Mane. Mr. Mane is a brown and white tabby named due to their fur looking like they have a mane. He's extremely cautious, only eating once other cats have left. Miss Jade. Miss Jade is a all-black short hair that is named for her green eyes, which are similar to a jade. Mr. Sandwich. Mr. Sandwich is a orange and white cat that was given his name because his colors resemble a ice cream sandwich. Mr. Sunflower. Mr. Sunflower is a orange tabby cat with a unique brown spot of his nose that resembles a sunflower seed. He is often seen sleeping with his partner, Miss Eeper. Miss Fierce. Miss Fierce is a calico shorthair with white, black, and orange spots. Miss Fierce is well known for her extremely intimidating looks that she gives the camera and other cats. She is also extremely territorial. Mr. Joestar. Mr. Joestar is a brown tabby named after the popular anime series JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. This is due to his feeder's first name being Jojo. Mr. Virtue. Mr. Virtue is a white short hair with the exception of a black spot on the top of his head. He gained his name due to sadly waiting in front of an empty feeder for 5 minutes before leaving right after someone fed him. Mr. Excavator. Mr. Excavator is a brown tabby named for taking large bites of his food. Miss Angel. Miss Angel is a calico shorthair whose gray markings on her back resemble wings. Mr. Choco Milk. Mr. Choco Milk is a brown and white longhair and was given his name because his colors resemble a chocolate milk. Miss Tortilla. Miss Tortilla is a black and orange British shorthair whose orange spots resemble the burnt spots on tortillas. Miss Box. Miss Box is a orange, black, and white calico who is known for the habit of sitting inside the cardboard box located inside the feeder. Mr. Piss. Mr. Piss is a all-orange cat who is often confused with Mr. Fresh because they look very similar. However, infamously, he peed into the feeder. Mr. Zeus. Mr. Zeus is a white and brown ragdoll who is named after one of the Discord members' cats. And that is the end of Layer 2. We are now heading into Layer 3. Mr. Snack. Mr. Snack is a ginger tabby who is named after his unique eating habits. Mr. Snack will only eat the freeze-dried treats from the feeder, and when there is no treats, he will stare directly into the camera menacingly. Mrs. Snack. Miss Snack is a calico shorthair who was the partner of Mr. Snack. However, most recently they seem to be having some disputes. The Snack Children. The Snack Children are the two children of Mrs. and Mr. Snack. Dr. Smudge. Dr. Smudge is a orange and white shorthair named after the orange smudges on his body. However, unlike most male cats, he is named Dr., not Mr. Mr. Big. Mr. Big is a black and white longhair named because of his size. Miss Dot. Miss Dot is a white and orange cat who was named after the unique orange dot on their back. Mr. Sneeze. Mr. Sneeze is a orange long-haired tabby named after his tendency to sneeze. Also, just like Mr. Snack, he also has a tendency of just eating the snack food. Miss Rattle. Miss Rattle is a brown tabby named due to her tail resembling a rattlesnake's. Mr. Monochrome. Mr. Monochrome is a brown tabby who gained his name due to his very monochrome color. Mr. Monochrome acts incredibly similar to Mr. Fresh, however he is scared of the food dispenser. Mr. Egg. Mr. Egg is a orange and white tabby who gained his name because he looks like an egg while eating. He is extremely defensive, growling and eyeing at nearby cats. Mr. Normal. Mr. Normal is a orange tabby who looks very similar to Mr. Fresh. Mr. Normal appears to have gotten the tendency to seek out specific bits of kibble or snack by sniffing and then digging. Other than that, he is fairly normal. Mr. Swole. Mr. Swole is a orange and white piebald who gained his name because his fur pattern on his back resembles a six-pack. Mr. Sus. Mr. Sus is a orange and white shorthair who on his first appearance was eating, but then suddenly gave one of the most intense side eyes we've ever seen, rivaling the great Mr. Fresh. Miss Polar. Miss Polar is a British shorthair cat with orange eyes who is named after her white coat. Mr. Toast. Mr. Toast is a cream-colored Persian who was named after his coat looking toasted. He's often seen loafing around the feeder. Miss Chunky. Miss Chunky is a brown tabby who gained her name due to her size, being the largest female cat at the feeder. She is very territorial over the food, growling at other cats because of it. Mr. Tuxedo. Mr. Tuxedo is a black and white shorthair who looks like they wear a suit. They also seem to have a rivalry with Miss Dress, with Miss Dress often swatting at him. Dr. House. Dr. House is a brown and white mackerel tabby who is named after the fictional character Dr. Gregory House from House MD due to their shared limp. Mr. Ghost. Mr. Ghost is a white shorthair who is named after his elusive behavior. Mr. Miner. Mr. Miner is a orange shorthair who gained his name due to taking down most of Mount Kibble. He acts rather anxious, frequently checking his surroundings. Miss Rust. Miss Rust is a black and orange tortoiseshell who's named due to the rust-like pattern on her back. Mr. Halo. Mr. Halo is a brown tabby named for the white ring of fur around his head. He's overall pretty playful and is often seen playing with the carpet in the feeder. Mr. Weep. Mr. Weep is a gray tabby who on his first appearance had a bit of moisture in his eyes and a very sad look. Mr. Drumstick. Mr. Drumstick is a black and orange tortoiseshell named for the unique marking on their face that looks similar to a drumstick. Miss Camo. Miss Camo is a calico shorthair that gained her name due to her camo-like markings on her body. Miss Rise. Miss Rise is a black and brown tortoiseshell who's named after the brown up arrow pattern on her face. Mr. Panda. Mr. Panda is a black and white longhair named due to his panda-like resemblance. Mr. Dow. Mr. Dow is a black and white shorthair who received his name from the yin-yang symbol on his forehead. Mr. Crunch. Mr. Crunch is a brown and white tabby cat that got his name due to viewers on the stream hearing him crunch and eat loudly. Miss Sleep. Miss Sleep is a white and gray shorthair who gained their name due to their tendency to sleep in the food bowl, preventing other cats from eating. The Gluttonous Beast. The Gluttonous Beast is an extremely small, white and orange shorthair who holds the record of the longest eater eating for almost 25 minutes. He also gets into multiple fights at the feeders, most notably with Miss Kirby with a standoff that happens not once, but twice. And that was it for Layer 3. We are halfway done with the iceberg, and from here it only becomes more obscure. So let's just head into Layer 4. Mr. Cool Cucumber. Mr. Cool Cucumber is a brown tabby who was given his name due to his calm demeanor. Miss Mouse. Miss Mouse is a black and orange tortoiseshell who is named due to her ears resembling a mouse's. Miss Nuke. Miss Nuke is a ginger and black calico who was named after a distinct mushroom cloud-like mark on her head. Mr. Sweet Pea. Mr. Sweet Pea is a bi-colored shorthair who on his first appearance was injured and seemed sluggish. Sweet Pea was most likely taken to the vet and treated, however he has showed up at the feeder as recently as April 1st. Miss Pretty. Miss Pretty is a mackerel tabby calico, and due to her unique pattern on her back, she was given her name because it's a very beautiful pattern. Mr. Puke. Mr. Puke is a orange and white tabby, and as his name suggests, he puked into the feeder. He's often seen with his brother, Mr. Sleepy. Mr. Blanket. Mr. Blanket is a white British shorthair and is named due to looking like he's a nice white bedsheet. Mr. Blanket is very friendly and is often seen sitting next to other cats. Miss Loop. Miss Loop is a mackerel tabby calico who was named due to her circling of the feeder shortly after a human visited. Miss Loop is extremely friendly around humans, but has extreme beef with Mr. Beef. Mr. Fluff. Mr. Fluff is a cream-colored longhair who is known for his thick, fluffy fur and large, round eyes. He appears to be very shy and usually runs and hides if another cat enters the feeder. Miss Kirby has been documenting punching him, which may be why he is so shy. Mr. Wet. Mr. Wet is a white and brown shorthair who gained his name due to on his first appearance looking very soggy and wet. Miss Mom. Miss Mom is a white shorthair and is also known as Careless Mom. This is because while she was eating, her kitten would meow for food and she would ignore them. However, there are many instances of her taking care of her child, and it seems most recently she was rescued. Soup Dumpling. Soup Dumpling was a white short-haired kitten who was the child of Miss Mom. Sadly, Soup Dumpling passed away, and it is unknown the cause of death. Rest in peace, Soup Dumpling. Miss Leopard. Miss Leopard is a brown spotted tabby and was named due to her coat looking like a leopard's. Mr. Lead. Mr. Lead is a brown shorthair who is named for both his metallic sheen on his brown-gray coat and his heavy lead-like stare. Mr. Fat. Mr. Fat is a white and orange shorthair who earned his name due to his massive size. He's pretty anxious most of the time, but has also been seen being rude to other cats. Miss Puzzle. Miss Puzzle is a white, orange, black, and gray shorthair who is named due to her reaction of the feeder, being confused and scared when the food was donated. Little Scraggly Guy. Little Scraggly Guy is a bi-colored shorthair who was named due to his rougher appearance from the other cats. However, he hasn't been seen since late February and was most likely taken to the vet and adopted. Mr. Chicken. Mr. Chicken is a orange and white shorthair who gets his name from his strange chicken-like shape and his tendency to lose fights. Miss Paint. Miss Paint is a calico shorthair whose name was given from the pattern on her back, which resembles an abstract painting. Miss Note. Miss Note is a mostly dark colored tortoiseshell and is named due to the mark on her face, which resembles a musical note. Miss Owl. Miss Owl is a brown tabby who gained her name due to the markings on her back, resembling an owl mid-flight. Mr. Chomp. Mr. Chomp is a tricolored shorthair who is named due to his preferred eating habits, taking big chomps of the food. We are now done with layer 4. The next layer will have more rare and unknown cats. So let's just head into layer 5. Mr. Polite. Mr. Polite is a black and white shorthair known for his habit of patiently waiting for food. He's extremely rare, only being documented going to the feeder 4 times. Miss Sad. Miss Sad is a calico shorthair who was named due to her very skittish, hesitant, and overall sad-looking behavior. Mr. Fruitcake. Mr. Fruitcake is a black and white longhair who on his first appearance had a feather hanging from his neck, giving his name since he looked very fruity. He is very distinct from other cats because he is missing one of his ears. Mr. Yap. Mr. Yap is a white and gray shorthair who is known for his habit of meowing and making a lot of noise at his feeder. Mr. Slam. Mr. Slam is a gray tabby who while eating was body slammed by Miss Dress, causing him to run out of the feeder and to gain his name. Mr. Sniffles. Mr. Sniffles is a brown tabby known for making a sniffling noise when he eats. Mr. Bear. Mr. Bear is a white and gray shorthair who got his name because he looks somewhat like a bear. However, Mr. Bear has not been seen at the feeders because of a broken leg which he was taken to the vet for. Miss Takeout. Miss Takeout is a brown and orange tortoiseshell who is named after the people who successfully differentiated her from Mr. Dot, as they both have the same forehead dot. Mr. One. Mr. One is a black, white, and silver Turkish van that is named due to his iconic patch on his back, which resembles a number 1. Miss Punk. Miss Punk is a brown and ginger colored tortoiseshell who is mainly known for staring at the feeder menacingly. She can also be seen some of the times babysitting her partner's kittens. Little Miss Scallywag. Little Miss Scallywag is a brown and white tabby, and I've looked and asked, but there wasn't really a reason for the name, but it's most likely because she's very silly. Mr. Dot. Mr. Dot is a tortoiseshell tabby who was originally named when he left after eating for 10 minutes straight, hardly showing his face, and the people in chat dubbed him Mr. Shy. However, he has been renamed to Mr. Dot because of the massive dot in the middle of his forehead. Mr. Cream. Mr. Cream is a white shorthair who is named due to looking like cream. However, there is some speculation that they might be Mrs. Poland. Mr. Squeeze. Mr. Squeeze is a white and black shorthair named due to his size, being so large that he barely fits into the feeder. Mr. Horseshoe. Mr. Horseshoe is a brown and white shorthair who is named for his horseshoe pattern on his back and forehead, in addition to the fact that he posed like a horse in his first appearance. Mr. Janitor. Mr. Janitor is a bicolor brown tabby who was caught on his first appearance eating Mr. Puke's puke. Mr. Mustache. Mr. Mustache is a tuxedo shorthair who was dubbed because of his mustache, a black patch of fur under his nose. Mr. Mustache has only been seen at the feeder once and seemed pretty befuddled and confused by the feeder itself. Mr. Sin. Mr. Sin is a black and white British shorthair and is named due to his very aggressive behavior and his habit to get into fights with other cats. Mr. Turkey. Mr. Turkey is a orange and white shorthair who is very similar to Mr. Chicken because of his tendency to sit in a strange chicken-like shape. Most of the time, Mr. Turkey is pretty focused on eating, even letting food fall on the top of his head. Mr. Gentleman. Mr. Gentleman is a black and white shorthair and was named due to being very distinguished and elegant. Miss Princess. Miss Princess is a Calabi shorthair who doesn't really live up to her name, being very territorial and growling whenever another cats approach her while she's eating. However, she never resorts to violence. Mr. Snakeskin. Mr. Snakeskin is a brown tabby who was named because of his snake-like pattern on his back. Mr. Porcupine. Mr. Porcupine is a black medium hair who was named for his appearance, notably the fur on his lower back that resembles quills. And that is it for layer 5. Layer 6 is extremely short, only having 10 to 15 entries, however it contains some of the most elusive things to ever show up at the feeders. So I don't want to waste any more of your time, so let's just head on into layer 6. Mr. Plump. Mr. Plump is a orange and white shorthair who is named due to his plump body. He also has the habit of often reaching deep into the corners of the kibble box to scoop out food. Mr. Fear. Mr. Fear is a orange and white short-haired kitten who was only seen once at the feeders, getting extremely scared of the dispenser. Mr. Void. Mr. Void is a completely black shorthair and is very intimidating and aggressive, scaring most cats. He is also very territorial, peeing on the feeder in his first appearance. Miss Ballet. Miss Ballet is a white and orange shorthair who is often seen with Miss Punk, being lovers, but also has unnamed kittens. Miss Jaundice. Miss Jaundice is a orange tabby who's named after unique yellow eyes, which watchers compared to the medical condition jaundice, which causes yellowing of the skin. Mr. Ear. Mr. Ear is a gray tabby that I actually couldn't find a wiki page on. However, the reason Mr. Ear is named is due to instead of him having 2 ears, he has 4. Mr. Brave. Mr. Brave is a orange and white shorthair named due to not being scared of the fireworks during Chinese New Year. Miss Lag. Miss Lag is a dark tortoiseshell who is named due to her SCP-like abilities to make the stream lag. She is pretty common at the feeders, but every single time she will either freeze or break the camera. Mr. Sonic. Mr. Sonic is a hedgehog who is obviously named after the video game character of the same name. The reason that I haven't grouped him in with all the other animals is because of his tendency to show up at the feeder, showing up multiple times, even fighting Mr. Beef. Other animals. Because of the feeders being in public, really anything can get in there, so these are all the documented animals that aren't cats that were in the feeders. Snails, chickens, birds, rats, ducks, badgers, I think, and dogs. That is it for the iceberg. I want to thank you all for watching. It really means a lot, but there are a few things I want to talk about before the video ends. Firstly, the iceberg image that I created was created in March, so newer cats that are found more recently weren't on there. So here's what I want you to do if I missed your favorite cat. Please leave a comment saying what cat I missed, and if I get enough of them, I'll make a part 2 to this iceberg with all the cats that I did miss. Secondly, these cats are often harmed, so I've left a link in the description to a donation so you can donate to help these cats. And lastly, I want to thank everybody who's a part of the Street Cat Wiki Discord and the Street Cat Wiki itself. Without that, this video would not exist. Not only that, but they've been incredibly kind and welcoming, and they're just a really nice community in general. So that's it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!